Imagine a future where the world's fastest-growing economy is no longer dependent on imports for its solar ambitions, where sprawling factories gleam under the Gujarat sun, churning out cutting-edge solar glass, while the balance of power and clean energy quietly shifts from Beijing to New Delhi. India is betting big on a solar transformation, one that could change the rules of global energy and redefine the fortunes of a $30 billion industry. But behind the bold headlines and ambitious targets, a deeper, more complex game is unfolding. Can India really dethrone China in solar glass? And at what cost? Let's zoom out. Why is solar glass suddenly at the heart of India's industrial dreams? The answer is as clear as it is urgent. India's hunger for energy is insatiable. Its population, soon to be the world's largest, demands reliable electricity, booming industries, and clean air. Solar energy seems like the perfect answer. It's limitless, it's clean, and it promises to unshackle India from imported fossil fuels. But there's a catch. The very panels that soak up the Indian sun have, until recently, relied on glass from other countries, especially China and Vietnam. The numbers are staggering. Before recent policy shifts, Indian makers supplied just a third of the glass in local solar panels. The rest? Mostly shipped in from China, at prices local manufacturers could barely match. Here's the twist. The Indian government isn't watching from the sidelines anymore. Determined to build a self-reliant energy ecosystem, it's unleashing a flurry of incentives, financial sweeteners, direct subsidies, and, most controversially, a stiff anti-dumping import duty. Over 5 years, this tax will slap as much as $664 on every ton of imported solar glass from China and Vietnam, transforming the economics of the entire industry overnight. With one stroke, local producers like Borosil Renewables have gained breathing room and, crucially, the chance to dream big. Borosil Renewables is at the epicenter of this solar glass gold rush. Led by Chairman Pradeep Karuka, this company has already seized a commanding 40% share of India's domestic solar glass market. Their ambitions don't stop there. A massive Rs 950 crore expansion is underway in Gujarat, where towering furnaces will soon boost capacity from 1,000 tons per day to a blistering 1,600. By late 2026, Borosil aims to control 60% of the market, pumping out enough glass for more than 10 gigawatts of solar modules every year. The stakes? Nothing less than national energy security and billions in future revenue. With a complete shift towards bifacial and thinner glass modules, Borosil Renewables is committed to expanding its production capacity to 10 GWh by July 2026, says Karuka. That's not just talk. With India targeting a jaw-dropping 500 gigawatts of solar power by 2030, demand for solar glass is set to explode. The experts at iMart Group predict the market will reach nearly 1 million tons by 2033, growing at a brisk 7.6% every year. Borosil is betting it can surf this wave, and maybe even export its tech to other regions hungry for solar. But India isn't alone in this race. Hot on Borosil's heels is Gold Plus Glass, which fired up a cutting-edge plant in Karnataka early in 2025, adding another 109,500 tons per year to national capacity. Solar module makers like Wari Energies are deploying breakthrough modules with higher efficiencies, using glass with special coatings and textures that wring every extra percent of sunlight into energy. The entire sector is buzzing. As of 2024, India has over 71 gigawatts of solar panel module production capacity, and the government's production-linked incentive, PLI scheme, is pouring gasoline on the fire, driving domestic innovation and attracting global investment. There's a palpable sense of urgency on the ground. As one analyst from Chrysler told us, solar capacity additions are expected to remain healthy at 18 to 20 gigawatts per annum until at least 2027. That's a factory-building spree India hasn't seen since the IT boom. And the technologies keep marching forward. Textured solar glass, anti-reflective coatings, thinner profiles, all aimed at squeezing more energy out of every panel, making solar power ever cheaper and more effective for Indian homes, businesses, and farms. For decades, China was the undisputed king of solar glass, shipping to the world at rock-bottom prices. But the ground is shifting, rapidly. The anti-dumping duty has doubled the price of Chinese glass in India, from Rs 28,000 to Rs 57,000 per metric ton. Borosil and its peers can finally price their products competitively, free from the old race to the bottom. The anti-dumping duty will help local manufacturing of solar glass grow quickly, a Borosil representative told Reuters. Yet some industry watchers worry about unintended consequences. India's solar energy dream is almost unimaginably ambitious. The government wants to install 40 gigawatts of new solar projects every year in the near future. That will gobble up more glass than the country has ever produced. If domestic suppliers can't scale up fast enough, will India risk a supply crunch and, ironically, higher costs for solar projects? And there's another challenge lurking just over the horizon: geopolitics. Trade skirmishes with China and other regional powers could spark price wars, supply disruptions, or even technology crackdowns. The global solar industry is deeply interconnected. Essential raw materials, specialized machines, and know-how often come from abroad. If India closes itself off too quickly, could it lose access to key advancements? The picture is further complicated by the relentless march of technology. In October 2024, Waaree Energies introduced a revolutionary dual-glass solar module with 730 watts peak power, made using innovative glass encapsulation techniques. Such innovations can rapidly alter the market landscape, favoring the nimblest, best-funded players. The glass industry's capacity growth rate is about 15 to 20% this year, but supply growth is beginning to slow, observes a sector analyst at ZD Solar. In other words, the window of easy dominance may be closing. Emotions run high among executives tasked with making India's solar glass revolution a reality. There is pride, yes, but also real anxiety. Investors are watching share price swings with bated breath, and every new factory or technology launch brings both risk and opportunity. As the International Energy Agency, IEA, warns, demand for critical elements like silver, which is needed for advanced solar modules, could soar to absorb 30% of global supply by 2030. Could the solar industry's own success become its Achilles heel? Perhaps the most urgent question is this: can Indian manufacturers scale up quickly enough and maintain high quality to feed surging demand without sparking the sort of boom and bust cycle that has plagued other sectors? Experts caution about a possible oversupply crisis. If Borosil, Gold Plus, and others all rapidly double or triple their output, what happens if demand levels off or global prices crash? The last thing the industry wants is a race to the bottom just as it's hitting its stride. Let's not forget the international stakes. As India eyes not just self-sufficiency but global leadership, can it overcome the entrenched advantages of Chinese megafirms? And can it do so while keeping solar power affordable for hundreds of millions of people, many of whom are counting on the energy transition to lift them out of poverty? The answer may depend on how skillfully India navigates a minefield of economic, political, and technological risks, while keeping its eye on the glittering prize. As we move forward in this story, the stakes are clear. The solar glass race in India is much more than an industrial contest. It's a high-wire act balancing national ambition, global competition, and the dreams of an entire country under the sun. But as new factories rise and policy winds shift, a critical question looms. Will India's solar glass revolution light up the world, or run into the same old obstacles that have frustrated so many industrial dreams before it? Coming up, we'll dig deeper into the strategies, risks, and surprising wildcards that could decide the outcome of India's most ambitious clean energy bet. So, what lies ahead for India's solar glass revolution? If the past few years have been anything to go by, the next chapter promises even higher stakes, breakthrough opportunities, and challenges that could shake the very foundations of the industry. Let's peer into the near future. The numbers are staggering. India's solar panel glass market is expected to reach nearly 1 million tons by 2033, growing at a CAGR of over 7.5%. Borosil Renewables is determined to claim 60% of this enormous domestic pie, ramping up its state-of-the-art Gujarat facility to a dizzying 1,600 tons per day within just a couple of years. Meanwhile, new players like Gold Plus Glass are entering the scene, adding hundreds of thousands of tons of annual capacity. It's an industrial arms race with no signs of slowing down. Government policies are poised to keep fueling this frenzy. The production-linked incentive scheme injects billions directly into Indian solar manufacturing. Anti-dumping duties, now topping $600 per ton, lock out cheap Chinese and Vietnamese glass. For the first time ever, domestic companies are on a level playing field, or perhaps even with a home court advantage. But as the old saying goes, every boom sows the seeds of its own challenges. Imagine a scenario where all this capacity comes online at once. Instead of a nice, orderly increase in demand, the market could suddenly be flooded with glass. Prices plummet. Smaller or less efficient producers face shutdowns. Even industry giants see razor-thin margins. This is the classic pitfall of overcapacity, a trap well known in global steel and semiconductor markets, and now looming over solar glass. Industry expert Amit Sinha puts it bluntly, "Right now, we're seeing the necessary push for self-reliance, but if supply races ahead of demand, we risk a vicious cycle, price crashes, project delays, and consolidation." Yet the risks don't end there. The world of solar glass is far from static. Innovation marches on. Technologies like bifacial solar modules, thinner and lighter glass, textured surfaces for increased efficiency, and advanced anti-reflective coatings are rapidly becoming the industry gold standard. Take Waaree Energy's 730 BPN type HJT dual glass panel, unthinkable for most Indian manufacturers just a few years ago. Now it's a baseline for global competition. Will domestic firms keep up, or will the technological edge slip back to international rivals? The answer may decide not just who leads in India, but who can export to lucrative opportunities abroad. There are also global forces at play, some visible, some lurking beneath the surface. Geopolitical tensions with China hang like a shadow, with the specter of further trade restrictions or even supply chain disruptions. The hunt for silver, an essential input for high-efficiency solar cells, is intensifying. The International Energy Agency forecasts that by 2030, solar will devour 30% of global silver production. If prices spike or shortages occur, the entire ecosystem, modules, glass, installation, could grind to a halt. Sustainability concerns are rising too. Solar glass manufacturing is energy-intensive and still heavily reliant on natural gas. As the world demands ever lower carbon footprints for every solar panel, companies must grapple with their own environmental impact. Expect next-gen solutions, renewable-powered furnaces, green hydrogen fuel, and circular economy recycling of old solar modules and glass. But let's not lose sight of the massive opportunities. India's 500 GW solar power target by 2030 is not just a number, it's a revolution. The sheer scale implies new solar farms, floating installations, rooftop arrays for villages, and a sunrise market for building integrated photovoltaics. The demand for ultra-high-performance glass, textured, bifacial, ultra-thin, will soar not just domestically, but across Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, where India is quickly becoming a tech exporter. Companies poised to seize these opportunities will do more than just grow. They'll build the industrial backbone of India's energy future. Borosil Renewables chairman Pradeep Karuka sums it up. "We are not just chasing market share, we are creating an entirely new ecosystem, technology, jobs, and the promise of energy independence." So what does all this mean for the average viewer, the everyday investor, the innovator at heart? First, for investors and entrepreneurs, this sector is a textbook case of risk and reward. While recent government support and rising demand have created spectacular opportunities, only the nimblest and most forward-looking companies will survive the coming wars of price, technology, and scale. Anyone eyeing this space, whether as a stockholder, supplier, or startup founder, must stay laser-focused on efficiency, cost controls, and relentless innovation. Second, for tech enthusiasts and engineers, the solar glass revolution opens doors to a brave new world. Next-gen solar modules will demand even higher light transmittance, smarter coatings, recycled materials, and digital integration. If you have an eye on clean tech careers or dreams of launching a hardware startup, this is your moment. The intersection of engineering and green energy in India is buzzing like never before. Third, for policy watchers and students of economics, the solar glass saga is a living lesson in how government incentives can jumpstart an industry, but also how quickly protectionism can breed complacency and inefficiency. As anti-dumping duties come up for renewal in 4 to 5 years, the fate of hundreds of companies and thousands of jobs will hinge on whether Indian firms can stand tall on a truly global stage. And for everyday citizens, India's solar glass transformation won't just power grand infrastructure. It will touch millions of lives. Affordable electricity for schools, healthcare, and homes, new jobs in high-tech manufacturing, cleaner air for a new generation. Every solar panel installed means fewer emissions, greater independence, and a step toward a more sustainable future. But here's the secret not everyone sees. The most profound impact might be invisible. By building solar glass expertise at home, India is quietly creating a platform to leapfrog into next-generation materials science. Smart windows, advanced displays, transparent batteries. The solar revolution is just the beginning. The know-how and industrial muscle gained today could open doors we haven't even imagined yet. So, circling back to our big question, can Indian solar glass firms achieve global leadership without falling into the traps of price wars, supply shocks, or technological stagnation? The answer is cautiously optimistic. With strategic investments, bold innovation, and a relentless focus on quality, India is indeed poised to not just catch up, but lead. But the risks are real, and the competition will only intensify. Vigilance and adaptability will be the keys to survival and leadership. For now, Indian companies like Borosil Renewables are rewriting the playbook. Their success or failure will set the template for every tech-driven manufacturing sector in the country. If you're inspired by stories of industrial transformation, or you want to be among the first to spot the next big clean tech trends, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified for our upcoming deep dives on batteries, green hydrogen, and the global race for critical minerals. What do you think? Will India's solar glass revolution turn the country into a global production powerhouse, or are hidden pitfalls lurking ahead? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's spark a debate. And here's one final fast fact. The same glass technology supercharging solar panels is being quietly adapted for ultra-clear, antimicrobial hospital windows, another unexpected ripple effect of India's solar ambitions. Thanks for watching.